to come up so we can light our candles. If you have a candle, come up. Hine matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. How good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. How good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. Hine matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Wait to light. Hine matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Alrighty, we light our Hanukkah candles before our Shabbat candles, because once we light our Shabbat candles, we're not supposed to light anymore. So we're all going to light our shamash together. If you need, here. Oh. Okay, well, I've lit that one. Alrighty. Anyone else need help? We got it? All right. We're going to say all three blessings because it is a Shehechianu moment, even though it's not the first night. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner Shel Chanukah. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asa nisim lavoteinu bayamim hahem bazman hazeh. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, shehechianu V'kiyamanu, v'higianu, lasman hazeh. Thank you to everyone who brought their Chanukiot. You may go back to your seats. Okay, all good. All right, and now we're going to continue to bring in the light with our Shabbat candles. And because it's Shabbat Hanukkah, at my house, we do the Shabbat blessing also in the Hanukkah tune. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Happy Hanukkah. Thanks for joining us tonight in between Christmas and New Year's and our time to celebrate Hanukkah together. Hanukkah this year decided to be at a weird time where a lot of people were out of town, so this is our Hanukkah celebration. Hanukkah is all about bringing light into our life, so I want you to turn to someone next to you and say, what is bringing light into your life today? I'm very stuck. Alrighty, we're going to continue together on page 12 for Lechuna Ranana. Lechuna Ranana, yai vai 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 vai, la Adonai, yai vai 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 vai, na Ariyah, yai vai 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 vai, letzur yishenu, yai vai 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 vai. Let us sing out to God, the maker of all, sure and strong. Let all of creation from mountain to sea hear our song. Lechuna Ranana, yai vai 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 vai, la Adonai, yai vai 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 vai, na Ariyah, yai vai 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 vai, letzur yishenu, yai vai 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 vai. For all of the wonder and all of God's light, we rejoice. So now let us listen with all of our hearts to hear God's voice. Lechuna Ranana, yai vai 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 vai, la Adonai, yai vai 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 vai, na Ariyah, yai vai 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 vai, letzur yishenu, yai vai 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 vai. going to continue now with Lecha Dodi, welcoming in our Shabbat bride. And I want you to think about whatever that was that brought you light. And I want you to bring that in with you for the next 24 hours of our Shabbat, to give our Shabbat light and happiness and joy. And we will be on page 20. Lecha lecha dodi, likrat likrat kala, penei penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha lecha dodi, likrat likrat kala, penei penei Shabbat nekabela. La 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 lecha dodi, likrat likrat kala, penei penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha lecha dodi, likrat likrat kala, penei penei Shabbat nekabela. Verse 1. Shamor v'zachor b'dibor echad, Hishmiyanu elam meyuchad, Adonai echad, U'shemo echad, L'shem al tiferet v'hitzi la 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 lecha dodi, likrat likrat kala, penei penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha lecha dodi, likrat likrat kala, penei penei Shabbat nekabela. Verse 2. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nocha, ki hi mekor haberacha, merosh mikadam nesucha, sof ma'aseh b'machshava chila la 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 lecha dodi, likrat likrat kala, penei penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha lecha dodi, likrat likrat kala, penei penei Shabbat nekabela. Verse 5. Hitoreri, hitoreri, kiva ora kumi uri, 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 shir daberi, kod Adonai alayik nigla la 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 lecha dodi, likrat likrat kala, penei penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha lecha dodi, likrat likrat kala, penei penei Shabbat nekabela. If it is your custom to rise and greet the Shabbat bride, please do so now. Boi v'shalom ateret bala, gam b'simcha u'v'tzahala, tov hamonei am segula, boi chala, boi chala, la 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 lecha dodi, likrat likrat kala, penei penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha lecha dodi, likrat likrat kala, penei penei Shabbat nekabela. La 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 lecha dodi, likrat likrat kala, penei penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha lecha dodi, likrat likrat kala, penei penei Shabbat nekabela. And we continue by welcoming the angels coming in for Shabbat on page 24. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Seidchem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. O God, you are as near as the very air we breathe, yet farther than the farthest most star. We yearn to reach you. We seek the light and warmth of your presence. Though we say you are near, we are lonely and alone. Oh, let our desire be so strong that it will tear the veil that keeps you from our sight. Let your light release our darkness and reveal the glory and joy of your presence. We continue with the Baruch Hu, our call to worship, on page 28, and we rise as able. Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed, le'olam va'ed. Yavavai Let's read together on the top of page 33. As you taught Torah to those whose names I bear, teach me Torah too. Its mystery beckons, yet I struggle with its truth. You meant Torah for me. Did you mean the struggle for me too? Don't let me struggle alone. Help me to understand, to be wise, to listen, to know. Lead me into the mystery. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. On the next page. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. Page 36, you may be seated. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol vavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'otecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha hayom al levavecha Veshinantam levanecha, v'dibarta bam, b'shivtecha b'veitecha, uvlechtecha v'derech, ushochbecha uvkumecha, ukshartam leot al yadecha, v'hayu letotafot bein einecha, uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha, Uvisharecha leman tizkeru ve'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'item kedoshim lelohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim lehiyot lachem lelohim Ani Adonai Elohechem Adonai Elohechem Emet. At the top of 39. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot. That wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. On page 40. Okay, I am Libnei Moshe Miriam. Se'eli anu ve'amru, Se'eli anu ve'amru. Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ad. Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ad. Yailai, we all know that word. Yailai, lai, la, 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 yailai, lai, la, 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 yailai, la, 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 yailai, la, la, ya, la, 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 la. One more time. Yailai, la, 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 yailai, la, 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 yailai, la, 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 yailai, la, la, yailai, la, la, la. On the next page, Hashkivenu, one of my favorite prayers, asking God to create a shelter of peace over us as we sleep so we can wake up the next day ready, happy, and rejuvenated to go about our day. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leShalom B'hamideinu Shomreinu L'chaim. Let's do that again. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leShalom B'hamideinu Shomreinu L'chaim. Spread the shelter of your peace over us. Guide us in wisdom, compassion, and trust. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leShalom B'hamideinu Shomreinu L'chaim. Save us for the sake of your name. Shield us from hatred, from sorrow and pain. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leShalom B'hamideinu Shomreinu L'chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leShalom B'hamideinu Shomreinu L'chaim. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim. On the next page, our song for Shabbat. Ve'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני, עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. Prayer invites God's presence to suffuse our spirits, God's will to prevail in our lives. Prayer may not bring water to parched fields, nor mend a broken bridge, nor rebuild a ruined city, but prayer can water an arid soul, mend a broken heart, rebuild a weakened will. On page 46, please rise as able. Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Vekonei Hakol, Vezocher Chasdei Avot V'imahot, Umevi Geula Lifnei V'neihem, Leman Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer Umoshia Umagen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham Ve'ezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor Leolam Adonai, Mechaye HaKol Atah, Rav Lehoshia, Mashiv HaRuach Umorid HaGashem, Mechalkel Chayim Bechesed, Mechaye HaKol Berachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim Verofech Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem emunato lishenei afar bichamocha bal giverot umido melach melech meimit umechayeh umatzmiach Yeshua ונאמן אתה לחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש שמך קדוש וקדושים בכל יום יעלוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. Page 62. Yehiyu leratzon imrefi V'hegyol libi lefanecha. Yehiyu leratzon imrefi V'hegyol libi lefanecha. Adonai Turi, Adonai Turi, Adonai Turi Begoali, Adonai Turi, Adonai Turi, Adonai Turi Begoali. Yehiyu leratzon imrefi V'hegyol libi lefanecha. Yehiyu leratzon imrefi V'hegyol libi lefanecha. Adonai Turi, Adonai Turi, Adonai Turi Begoali, Adonai Turi, Adonai Turi, Adonai Turi Begoali. So it is the last Friday night of the month, which means that we are going to continue with our Torah service. So we are going to be on page 244, and please rise as able. Ein kamocha ba'Elohim Adonai, ve'ein kema'asecha, malchutecha malchut kol olamim, umemshaltecha bechol dor v'dor. Adonai melech, Adonai malach, Adonai yimloch leolam va'en. Adonai oz le'amo yitain, Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom. Av harachamim היטיבה ברצונך את ציון. תבנה חומות ירושלים. תבנה חומות ירושלים. כי בך לבד בטחנו. מלך אברהם ונישא, אדון עולמים. Next page. כי מציון תצא תורה. כי מציון תצא תורה. ודבר אדוני מירושלים. Next page. ברוך שנתן תורה, תורה. ברוך שנתן תורה, תורה. לעמו ישראל בקדושתו. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. אחד אלוהינו, גדול אדוננו, קדוש שמו. אחד אלוהינו, גדול אדוננו, קדוש שמו. גדלו לאדוני איתי, ונרוממה שמו יחדיו. לך אדוני הגדולה והגבורה והתפארת והנצח וההון. כי כל בשמיים ובארץ, כי כל בשמיים בארץ. לך אדוני הממלכה, לעמית נעשה לכל ראש. על שלושה דברים, על שלושה דברים, על שלושה דברים, העולם עומד. על שלושה דברים, על שלושה דברים, על שלושה דברים, העולם עומד. על התורה ועל העבודה ועל גמילות חסדים. על התורה ועל העבודה ועל גמילות חסדים. One more time. על שלושה דברים, על שלושה דברים, על שלושה דברים, העולם עומד. על שלושה דברים, על שלושה דברים, על שלושה דברים, העולם עומד. You may be seated. There are 2 birthdays in this room, and if those people are interested, I would love to call you up for an aliyah. So Howard and Elaine are going to lead our aliyah today, or this evening. Thank you. And you're welcome to follow along as well, if you would like. Oh, wait. Where's the microphone? People online need to hear you.
Okay. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMvarach.
Baruch Adonai HaMvarach leolam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMvarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher barakar banu mikol ha'amim, v'nata lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai, noten ha'torah.
Amen. If you'd like to follow along, we're starting right there. Amen. Vayehi miketz natayim yamim ufaroch olem v'hinei omed al hayaor v'hinei min hayaor olot sheva parot yafot mar'eh uvreot basar v'tir'ena ba'acho v'hinei Sheva perot acherot alot achrehen min hayaor raot mer'eh v'dakot basar v'ta'amodna etzel haperot al sfat hayaor v'to'alchalna paperot raot hamar'eh v'dakot habasar et shevat haperot yafot hamer'eh v'habriot vayikat paro. At the end of 2 years' time, Pharaoh had a dream. There he was, standing by the Nile, when 7 cows came up out of the Nile, handsome and fat. They grazed among the reeds. And now 7 other cows came up after them from the Nile, repulsive and gaunt. They stood beside the other cows at the bank of the Nile. The cows that were repulsive and gaunt then ate the cows that were handsome and fat, and Pharaoh woke up.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher nata lanu Torat emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai, noten ha'torah.
Amen. Thank you very much. You may be seated. Well, the Torah is out in our midst. It gives a little extra oomph when we are praying for those who are in need of healing. So if you're thinking of anyone who is in need of healing, of mind, of body, of spirit, of soul, please feel free to share their name out loud as my hand goes around the room. We think of all those names said out loud, all those in our hearts, and all those around the world in need of healing. We're on page 253. Mishaberach avotenu mekor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. habracha la'avoteinu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema. The renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. There's one thing interesting that I learned about Debbie Frieden's Misha Berach recently, which is that the first English paragraph is actually about healing for us. And the second English paragraph is about healing for others, because we need to be our full, whole selves in order to spread that healing and to help others in need. So I thought that was really interesting when I learned it, and it's a different way of thinking about the prayer. Is someone willing to lift the Torah for me this evening? Anyone? Naeem, thank you very much. Come on up. We're not quite at the time where I can lift it myself without it falling. Vezot haTorah asher sam Moshe lifnei. Open up verse. Beth-El al pi Adonai beyad Moshe. Turn around. Yai nai nai dai dai yai dai dai dai. Back to the table. Yai nai dai yai dai dai yai dai dai dai. Yai dai 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 yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai 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 dai. Thank you. Yai dai 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 yai dai 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 yai dai 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 yai dai dai dai. Yai da 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 da. Yai da 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 da. It's Chaim here, le'machazikim pa, v'tomcheha me'ushar, deracheha, darchei noam, v'chol netivoteha, shalom. Hashivenu Adonai Elecha v'nashuva Chadesh Chadesh Yameinu Chadesh Yameinu Kekedem. You may be seated. Close your books. So there once was a king who was getting a little older. He couldn't figure out which of his 3 children would be the one to assume his throne and rule the kingdom. His eldest son was strong and brave, a warrior and a leader. His middle son was brilliant, quick and witty. He could outsmart almost anyone. His youngest child, his daughter, had potential, but she was so young. He loved them all equally and wanted each of them to take over the throne. He thought and he thought and he thought, and finally he came up with an idea. In the middle of the picturesque royal garden, there sat a small little shack. Whoever can fill the shack to capacity, the king exclaimed, will take over my throne. Each child would have 7 days to fill the shack with anything that they choose. The oldest child decided to go first. His sibling watched as he lugged stones and rocks of all shapes and sizes and tossed them into the shack. Day after day, he carried heavy, heavy loads. When there was no room left, he filled all the cracks and crevices with small pebbles to fill the room to capacity. At the end of the week, the king walked down the winding, narrow path that led into the garden and reached out to open the door of the shack. "My son," the king said as he smiled, "you have filled the shack to capacity. You may be the next king." He then ordered his servants to empty the shack. The middle son, the smartest and fastest, took his turn to try and outwit his brother. The others watched as he ran back and forth from the chicken coop to the shack, carrying bags and bags full of feathers. Dumping the feathers into the shack, time after time. When there was no more room in the shack, he jumped on the feathers to make space for more. Before long, the entire shack was filled to capacity with feathers, and so was the rest of the garden. At the end of the week, the king came walking down the winding, narrow path that led to the garden. The entire garden looked white as snow. The king reached out his hand and opened the door. "You have surpassed your brother," the king exclaimed. Within the rocks, there were still holes left over in the crevices. With the feathers, however, you have managed to fill the room to capacity. You may be the next king. Once again, he ordered his servants to empty the shack. It was now the youngest daughter's turn. The brothers pleaded with their father not to let her compete, or at least wait until she was a little bit older. "She doesn't understand, father. This is the whole kingdom on her shoulders," they declared. The king would not hear of it. "You each got your turn. Now it's hers." The first day passed. The shack was empty. The second day passed. The shack was still empty. The third day passed. Still, nothing had changed. By now, the townspeople had heard of the competition and began crowding around the palace, wondering what the princess had planned. The fourth day passed, and the shack was still empty. The brothers continued to plead with her father. "She's making a mockery of the throne." The king just waited. The fifth and sixth days passed, and the shack remained empty. On the seventh day, the king slowly walked down the winding, narrow path that led into the scenic garden. Only this time, he was not alone. Scores and scores of people followed behind him, wondering and waiting for what would be. The king reached out his hand to open the shack. People pushed and shoved to try to get a view. A stillness passed over the crowd. The door opened and the shack was still empty. Yet before a word can be uttered, the young princess passed under the arm of her father and headed straight into the shack. She knelt down, reached into the folds of her robe, and revealed a small candlestick. She reached back into the folds of her robe and pulled out a candle. She proceeded to light the candle, and the entire shack was lit to capacity, filled to capacity with light. The king smiled. "You, my child, will take over the throne." The crowd cheered, the brothers cheered, and all was how it was supposed to be. On this Shabbat of Hanukkah, I want us to remember the importance of light and how light has the ability to fill a space with joy and love. And I hope that as you continue to light your candles one by one more each night, your homes and spaces are filled with love, joy, and happiness. Shabbat Shalom. We will continue by remembering those who are held hostage in Israel, as we always do each week. We're now almost into 2025, which means it's been two years, 2023, 2024, and now 2025, where our hostages are still in Gaza. This week, we think of David Cuneo, who is turned 34 in custody, and while he was a hostage, and he was taken from Nir Oz. We join together on page 259 for Avinu Sheba Shamayim. Avinu, Avinu, Sheba Shamayim, Tzur Yisrael v'goalo. Avinu, Avinu, Sheba Shamayim, Tzur Yisrael v'goalo. Barech, barech et Medinat Yisrael, Reshit tzmichat geulateinu, Hagen aleha be'efrat chastecha, Ufros aleha sukat shlomecha. Avinu, Avinu, Sheba Shamayim, Tzur Yisrael v'goalo. Avinu, Avinu Shebashamayim Tzur Yisrael V'Goalo. We continue with the conclusion of our service, starting with Aleinu on page 282. Please rise as able. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'tekedu le'otzer breshit, shelo asanu k'grei ha'aratzot, v'lo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, v'gor aveinu kechol hamonam. V'anachnu korim u'mishtachavim u'modim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu v'ne'emor v'haya Adonai l'melech al kol ha'aretz bayom hahu Bayom hahu yiyeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad. You may be seated. There are stars up above, so far away we only see their light, long, long after the star itself is gone. And so it is with people that we loved. Their memories keep shining ever brightly, though their time with us is done. But the stars that light up the darkest night, these are the lights that guide us as we live our days. These are the ways we remember. This week we are thinking of the yahrzeit of Kurt Bauer, Joel Berkowitz, Eugene Brumer, Barbara Diamond, Ida Drexerman, Gertrude Greenspan, Susan Ross, Charlotte Schneider, Ryan L. Sims, Arthur Susswin, Bruce Weiner, Edna Zale, Mazi Yadluker, Alice Notrika Fornari, Mary Ann Rainson. If you're thinking of someone whose name is not on this list and you would like to share their name out loud, please feel free to do so as my hand goes around the room. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
My Nana, Maisie Yadlovka, 30 years yesterday.
Thank you. We think of those names said out loud and those in our hearts. And if it is your custom to rise, we do so and join together on page 294. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divrach chirutei ve'amlich malchutei, b'chayechon uv'mechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'gala uv'izman kari v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mivarach le'elam u'lalmei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yithaleh v'yithalal shemei dekudasha b'richu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama Rabbah min shamaya, v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. You may be seated. I believe Sandy Kaplan is coming up for a few announcements. That's what I was told too, so.
Okay, so for those of you who have been here before when I did the announcements, you're probably thinking, why is he up here again? And what can we do to stop this from happening? And I want to say I'm on your side. So maybe we'll have to form a committee and figure out how to handle this. That's what the temple does. So in order to bring light to the announcements, I'm going to do something different and do the most important things first, and we're going to start from the bottom and go to the top instead of the other way around. So the important thing is to the thank yous, to me anyway. And we'll do the bakers: Linda Diamond, Sharon Freeman, Lee Kaplan. I know her. I didn't know she's baking. Weiss Horowitz family, and the Landsberg for this very wonderful,
We'll see the challah in a
wonderful
moment.
challah. I don't know about you, but when I hear the bakers' names, it makes me think about the treats that are coming up, just their names, you know. And we also want to thank, of course, Rabbi Megan and Shai and the whole staff, Stu, Jason, Joan Miller, who makes the phone calls, and Phil, who did the ushering. And also for Naeem, he did the heavy lifting tonight, right? Yes, so he should be thanked. And there is something else that I want to thank you about. You don't even, some things go on here, you don't even know about them. We're going to bring them to the front. When you drive by that menorah that's out there, it does have the 3 candles lit, and it doesn't happen automatically. There's actually people showing up here every night to, quote unquote, light turn the bulb. So, and that is, these are family names. Kaplan, that's me and our family. Motion, Herman, Toski, Watman, Weiss Horowitz. And actually, if anybody wants to show up here around 4:30 on Thursday the 30th, we have an open spot. You just show up, you turn the bulb, you say a few prayers, honk at the people going by, whatever you want to do. So if you're interested, the 30th is open, and on the 1st, that Thursday is not 30th. It's Monday. Oh, okay. Well, it's still the 30th. That's open. Because 2 days later, on the 1st, whatever day that is, we hope to have the people who lit the bulbs to come as a group and take a group photo, and we get a lot of publicity out of that. So when you go by and you see the candle them lit, it's not automatic. People are volunteering to show up here to do it. Okay, now we're going to go from the bottom to the top. It's not listed here, I'm going to add it. On the 25th of January is the comedy night, and that stars one of our attendees right here, Stan Levine. And what makes his job so hard, you don't realize this, is that each year he's got to come up with a different routine. So I tell him, look, instead of trying to come up with a different routine, come up with a different audience. And then you don't have to worry about the routine. So he says he's thinking about it. So in the future, if you want to sign up and it says you're rejected, you'll know he's decided that we need a new audience so he can keep the same routine. So that's on the 25th. You can sign up for that. On Friday the 17th, that's the MLK service, which is a big change from the past. There's all kinds of information on that, so you'll want to sign up. On the 15th of January in the evening, the Sisterhood has a book club. I've been told that the book has something to do with pigeons and boys, right? So if you're interested, you'll have to read the book and decide based on that title. And I like this one. On the 12th, the Brotherhood, which I've been told is a very reputable organization in Temple. That's what people say about it. They're having a book presentation and discussing one of the books that was written by and photographed by Brad Kalodny. This is on the history of the synagogues on Long Island. And of course, Brotherhood throws in the breakfast as usual. You just sign up, it's all there. So come here and see what Brotherhood can do. And then on the 8th, the history of the American Yiddish Theater. Now, my understanding on that is that you don't have to know Yiddish to attend. Is that correct? Somebody?
Correct.
Correct. Okay. You go any language is okay. So you want to come to that, and that's listed. And then on the 5th there's the Explorers Club, which you have heard about, starting the new year with a brunch at Crawdaddy's in Floral Park. Now, my understanding on that is that it's a co-ed event. Is that right, Joy? It's not just for men or women, either both. Crab. Oh. Well, so Crawdaddy's doesn't exist. Oh. Well, then the location has changed to Crab Trees in Floral Park. And Joy's going like this. So I don't blame her. But I heard that restaurant is very good. Is that correct, Gary? Gary says it's very good, so that's it. Okay. So now we've gone from the bottom to
Tomorrow?
the top.
But everyone
No,
knows
we're not
happening
there
tomorrow?
yet. We're not there yet.
Great.
And now we get to tomorrow, which is the Torah study and Shabbat morning service as usual. See, so we covered it all.
Yeah.
From bottom to top.
Yeah. Awesome.
So that's it. So then we're back to you.
Back to me. Great. I do want to give one more little pitch about MLK this year. We have totally reimagined what it looks like. It's going to be similar in theme to our October 7th memorial, where it's going to be music and speakers, and it's interfaith, intercultural. All the Great Neck Coalition, if you heard of it, we're all participating together. So that will be at 7 o'clock, and then either 6 or 6:30, I don't remember exactly. 6 o'clock, there will be a shortened service if you want to say Morris Kaddish and do the more traditional prayers, because the 7 o'clock service will not be necessarily the traditional Shabbat prayers. But I think it's going to be very meaningful. It will be very moving. It will be really interesting to hear speakers from all different backgrounds and traditions. So I highly recommend you put it on your calendar. The music team has been working hard. I think it's going to be a great night. Alrighty. Please rise as able for Kiddush. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pari hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit ki hu yom techila lemikra'e kodesh zecher letziyat Mitzrayim kivanu v'acharta ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim ve'shabbat kodecha be'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat lechaim. We got double challahs today, so I'll do that one. But this one is the one that I want to show to everyone. I do think I will need a helping hand. Actually, I got it. Never mind. Okay. We've got a beautiful challah made by Gloria. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz b'te'avon. Thank you very much. We'll bring that one downstairs. Alrighty, Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Happy Hanukkah. Feel free to wait and get these after oneg so you can make sure to get all the goodies before they all disappear.
I was just gonna hear the difference right now, but you already took your ears out. I was trying to switch it as you were playing.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, but yeah, see, like, so piano is that mic, which it does sound better that way without that negative 20.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that one sounds really good,
Yeah.
right? The Cantor one is, yeah. So I'm still looking for these in XLRs.
In
so
XLRs?
So I can just leave them in there instead of do the.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, that head, just with an XLR.
Well, it sounded great. I felt very. It's the second time that I actually feel like I'm playing the piano.
Oh, let me tell you, you could tell. I said to Joy, Shy's very happy right now because I could see you get more enthusiastic and you're really into it.
Yeah, it's when you have a connection with an instrument, everything that kind of like gets you out of that equilibrium affects the way you play.
Oh yeah.
And so when I feel like I'm in that equilibrium, that I'm getting the instrument in the same way that I'm familiar with.
Well, that's how I know everything's working when I see your reaction to it. So it's good. No,
I really
great
appreciate
job,
you being
Shy.
sensitive to that. Thank you so
yeah,
much.
no, and I said like, oh, things are going very well. And then I saw you looking to your left. You were probably just disconnecting.
Yeah.
I thought you were having an issue. That's why I asked you.
No. I only use it when I need to hear everyone else.
Yeah.
The last song, I don't need to hear anybody. So I'm just like
That's why I was asking you. So
yeah.
right.
I'm always unplugging like the last one.
No, that's cool. I'm always
So
watching
now
you guys.
I'm always ready.
No, that's great. Yeah. So everything's good. I'll plug it in next week. Just leave it that. I mean, how long does that last? That thing lasts a while, right? Like,
Yeah. I mean, I do like 4-hour gigs with it, and it's like it holds up. And, like there's much more left there.
Oh, cool. We've definitely gone 2 or 3 times without
Yeah.
charge, you know.
Yeah.
And the cardboard's good, right? No problems with it.
Yeah. Works great.
I noticed that like 2 keys, you hear they hit hard. They sound different than the other keys. I'll mark it next time. I'll write
Yeah,
down
try to see
keys.
if you can mark it.
Because it's somewhere down here. Like you hear the headphones because it's right there. Somewhere over here, yeah. I'll find out what it is.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, whenever you notice something like that and you kind of like pinpoint the frequency, all you do is you go to the EQ and kind of you.
Oh no, I feel
tame
like it's a loose hammer or something.
You think that's it?
I think there's something going on here. It's a weird.
I see.
Sound.
Well, for me, everything sounds great. You know, if everything works well, you don't hear a peep from me.
No, that's great.
So everything's good. That was great.
And I raised you up with the guitar and looking for you like you do in the hand. I made a laugh for you.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Joy says there's one with chocolate in them, and so I hope there's still one with chocolate in them.
Okay, I guess I'll see you next week.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I sent the cue sheet via Google, and I
Oh,
texted
for next
everyone
week?
for next week. I don't know, Brandon knew what everyone already did the exact same cue sheet. So
Okay.
what? Yes. Downstairs, and I believe Michael is on it.
Wait. Not what downstairs.
Martin Luther King Jr.
Isn't it here?
Is it up here?
That's what the rabbi said.
I take that back. It's up here, but I still think Mike is
Yeah,
on it.
Mike is on it. Okay, cool. Yeah, Mike is on it. I don't know if he wants you here, but you know.